So, part two. So, I remember telling my mom to quit working, and she had quit working. I told her I would maintain her. And here I am. To this day, my mom doesn't work. We've been taking good care of her. Not really good, but it's been rough, as you could tell in my face. um, so where was I trying to go with this? Where am I trying to go with this? So at 19, I remember literally the whole point of me telling you about Safeway was that I remember when I was making $6 an hour, I told myself, damn, if I'm only making $6 an hour and my raise every year is like 25 cents or 50 cents, that means that it would take me years to make $15 an hour. Because that's how much one of my coworker who had been there for 10 years was making. So I felt like, wow, I will never make any more than what I make now. Like, I guess I saw myself there working for the rest of my life. I don't know why I thought like that. And then another job came along. I started working for us as a police cadet, $11 an hour. Didn't really learn anything there. It wasn't really challenging. I don't even know why. I joined it only because of the money. I told myself I wanted to be a police, but no, it was a lie. I was not trying to be a police. I was just in there for the money. What happened with that job? I ended up getting fired. Fired all because I snitched on myself saying that I smoke weed. Wow, big deal. Like, I didn't really smoke. I just, tried it. That's not really smoking. I didn't even know how to inhale the motherfucking thing, and y'all think that I was smoking. Anyways, y'all didn't even let me tell you guys what I was doing. That. Anyways, that doesn't make any sense. But back to my point. So after that job, they ended up letting me go. I was pregnant. I couldn't find a job, so I ended up working at a pawn shop after I had given birth to my daughter for 3 months. By the way, when I got fired from the police cadet, I was 8 months pregnant. Keep in mind, I didn't find a job till 5 months later. So 5 months later, I ended up working at a pawn shop from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, killing my butt, killing my ass for $9 an hour, plus commission. So the commission was really a big help. So I was basically bringing in maybe every paycheck was like 600, 600. So if you add that plus the commission 600, it was like maybe 12, $1,700 a month. But since I had a shitty as baby father, he wasn't really helping me. Instead, it was just me running my money, taking care of him, me, myself, and his son. So at one point, I just got tired of him, and I just ended up moving back with my parents. And his mom was the one who gave me the idea of to work at a doctor's office because she told me I didn't belong working at no shitty ass job, knowing I had a diploma and I could do anything in this world if I just put my mind to it. And so because of her, I thank her so much. So one day I was just sitting in my doctor's office and I just told them let me get a job application. They called me up within a week, and it's funny because when I was on my way to work, I got that job. Like they called me when I was on my way to work and she asked me a couple of questions. She liked how I interviewed, and next thing you know, she asked me to come in for a second interview, did a good job. Then I went in for a third interview and I got the job. Hey, what do you know? So I ended up working there. I was 19. I didn't work. I worked there from 8 till 4:30 for the last 10 years. I'm now 31. So what happened with that job? 2 years ago, I got fired from that job. I got fired, and yeah, this is told. So this is the whole point why I'm actually writing this story, telling you guys about this. I'm telling you about how I feel about this 9 to 5 job now. So when I got fired, I had already had intentions about leaving my job. Once I had completed that I had worked there for 10 years, I already had my mindset that I no longer wanted to work at that job another year. The reason was because I wasn't happy anymore. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing with my life. I did not feel challenged anymore. I felt like I wasn't growing. Being around my coworkers just made me I felt young, like I didn't feel like I was like I wasn't comfortable being around people, cuz I guess I was so comfortable with the people that I was with, and we were all young, and I felt like I wasn't growing. So I used to pray to God, and I used to pray to God, like, God, I no longer want to be here. Please allow me to get out. Allow me to find happiness, freedom, learn more in life, meet people. Like, that's all I wanted. I wanted to meet new people. For one, is because I had real bad social anxiety at the time. And I knew that the only way that I would get comfortable being around people is actually putting myself out there and just talking more and just getting to know people. And I could tell you honestly, within the last 2 years that I was let go from that job, and that I've had different jobs throughout these two last years, I have met a lot of people, and now I just feel like it ain't nothing. I mean, sometimes I do get a little, shy and uncomfortable, and it's because I feel like I get stuck when I talk. I don't know if you guys could tell, but okay, back to my story. See, I always lose. I'm always sidetracked when I'm talking. So, so yes, I prayed for what I no longer wanted and what I actually wanted, and another thing is, like, I wasn't happy in my job. With the job that I had, that 8 to 4:30 job that I worked for 10 years, I had severe depression at one point in my life. I had severe social anxiety, severe anxiety. I just didn't enjoy what I did. Like, I was making $20 an hour, but I felt so rich at the time that I didn't even notice how, if I had known what I know now, I probably would have been rich by now, you know. But everything happens for a reason, right? So I got let go from that job. Thank you, who you owe me that. You did me actually a favor, a big favor, cause you go and see me when I'm rich, and you know that. Um, where am I trying to go? Where am I trying to go? Because I keep forgetting. So, okay, so here's where it gets interesting. So after I lost my job, I couldn't find a job for another 4 months, and I would cry and cry. I would. Let me tell you guys. First of all, I used to get so many calls to go to interviews because my resume was just a bomb as fuck. For one, I didn't know I could actually do a resume, and I ended up doing a great resume that everybody just would call me. And then I'd go to these interviews, and then nobody wanted me. I felt like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I get these jobs that I wanted? And then one day I was just going through Facebook, just scrolling down, and I just came across this quote. And this quote said, God. It said something about God. Like, why, like, leave all your worries in God's hands, and He will take care of you. And then it said something about, you see the birds, you see the animals, they don't suffer, they live, right? God gives them water through rain, God gives them food through plants and animals. I don't know, I can't remember how the quote goes. But then I told myself, that's absolutely true. Why don't I just leave my worries in God's hands, and then maybe I would be just fine. And then that's exactly what happened. I just stopped worrying about the fact that I didn't have a job. I mean, I was still having income, of course. I was getting about $430 a week from unemployment. So a month that was like 1,400. On top of that, I was getting 350 something dollars for food stamp. So it was basically the same thing that I was making a month, like $1,900, like $300 less. But I was still like, I knew how to manage my money than what I had when I was actually making $20 an hour and just wasting it like if it was water. Like, if I actually had it whole time, I never did have it like I did, like how I did after I lost it. So long story short, um, so I ended up finding this job on Indeed one night. I was just scrolling and scrolling, and I had stopped looking for jobs for a couple of weeks. And then one night I just came across this one job, and I just applied. And for some reason, I got this feeling in my guts that told me that was going to be the job for me. And guess what, guys? I ended up getting that job in 2 weeks. It was just the job for me. It was meant for me. Like, things happen for a reason. God ended up putting me in a right job when I needed it the most. If I hadn't gone to that job, I probably would have been working another job right now. Probably would have been with other interviews of the job that I had applied. I probably would have been working there the same way how I was working at my previous job, being all sad and grumpy. So that job was paying $18 an hour, but let me tell y'all this, it was all cash. Nothing was being deducted from my taxes. And at the end of the year, I ended up doing my taxes. And since I didn't work for 4 months and I had a child, I ended up keeping all that money. Of course, I did claim it on my taxes, but I'm just saying, like, the IRS didn't really deduct much as what I thought they would. So yeah, I ended up getting a whole good chunk because I ended up saving so much money just in case I had to pay money back out of pocket. So yeah, so all that money that I saved up, I told myself I'm paying off my debt because I could no longer see myself paying off these debt. Like I was just constantly worried about this and that one. Like every month I had to make payments, and I was always making the minimum payment, $30. Like that was getting me no closer to paying off debt when I was over here wasting like $200, $300 a day, and just leaving my credit card, postponing them for last minute, $30. Wow. And so that job helped me pay off one of my credit cards. I dropped $7,000 paying off one credit card, and then my credit went down to I only had like $1,000 left in paying my debt. So with that job, I stayed only working with them for 6 months. I ended up quitting that job, and I quit because my coworkers weren't appreciative of me, and then my boss he just put the cherry on top of the cake for me, and I just said, you know what, you don't know who actually works hard here because you're always in your office, just like my previous manager who was always in her office and didn't care no SBS about me at all. She didn't care about me, and she just ended up firing me, which she ended up doing me a favor. Thank you. And the boss as well, you know, you gave me like you made me realize my worth, you know. I knew not to put up with nobody because on top of that, I didn't have any more debts. I didn't really give a fuck if I had lost my job or not because at the time I also had a backup job. My backup job was Instacart. So that was my to go to job and stuff. So I worked for that for a month. Then went back to applying for another job, and I landed a job in the orthopedic office. And I told myself, like, man, I don't want to do this 9 to 5 anymore. This thing is stressful. So I just went ahead and just did a part-time job in the medical field, but with my Instacart on the side as well. And let me tell you guys, it ended up going pretty well. Part-time was better than actually working full-time. Like I felt like I was actually living my life, living it up. And yeah, I was a little bit hard with money. There were times that I needed more money for me to go out, but I actually ended up managing it better. Um, Long story short, I ended up, let me see. A long story short, I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. I don't no longer work for the orthopedic. I was there for another 6 months. But after I lost that job, I realized like now I'm working at another job. It's a full time job, back to $18 an hour. But what I'm trying to say now is like now that am almost debt free, I still owe those $1,000 that I have not paid off. Crazy. It's crazy. I realized what's actually important. Do I really want to continue working this 9 to 5 every day? Do I? No, I don't. I don't. So all my friends, all they keep talking about is them wanting to buy a house. Like I already have like 3 friends that have bought houses. I know a couple of friends who are in debt, and all they think about is just wanting a house. And I'm like, so what? You want a house, so you want to stay working for your job for the next 20 years doing the same thing that you've been doing? I'm not trying to make them feel bad. I haven't said anything to them, but this is how my mindset think. I don't want to work for anybody. I'm not happy working a 9 to 5 job, being in the office all day. I find it as if we're slaves, as if we don't have nowhere to go in life. That this is our only choice, but no, not me. This is not my only choice. I'm coming back working this 9 to 5, and the fact that I'm making $3 more than I was in my previous job that I just quit like 2 weeks ago at the orthopedic office. I'm gonna be getting paid holidays, benefits. The purpose of my this job is for me to save up as much money as I can to try to open a business. And since my credit score is really high, up 700 and up, my intentions are to open up a business, a small business somewhere. I have to get my mind straight, set up what I want to do. And then from there, once I start getting that passive income, hopefully, if God let me find my dream, my passion, then I get my house. I'm in no rush to get my house. Like I said before, my mentality, I am 31, but my mentality is like maybe 10 years behind. I'm probably 21 now, but maybe in my mid 20s, late 20s, 24, 25. And as I'm, learning and growing, my mind is only getting wiser and more wisdom. So I'll keep you guys posted up with myself where I tend to be in the next couple of years or where I am. But like I said, right now, my goals are to own a business and get passive income from my business. Hope y'all watched all the way to the end.